All right, that was the President of the United States and the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, in the East Room of the White House after a day of meetings. Zelenskyy traveling to the United States today, pretty unprecedented. He hadn't been out of the country of Ukraine in 302 days since President Putin invaded his country. There's a lot to get to. He still has a speech tonight, a joint session of Congress that will happen a little bit later. But we have some time now to get some reaction from your favorite people on the five. Let's start with the judge, Judge Jeanine Pirro, who was here listening along with us, and get your thoughts.
You know, it's interesting when you put all the numbers together. It's $110 billion that we have given the Ukraine in aid. Today, almost $2 billion for the Patriot missile system. Again, I think the president was very clear that he didn't want to do anything that would be other than defensive, President Biden. So it's a Patriot missile system that was important. And I also think that the president is speaking for Congress, although Congress still hasn't approved the additional $45 billion that Ukraine wants. And I suspect is the reason why the president is here. Let me just speak for a second about President Zelenskyy. He is He has a very friendly way about him. He has a very comfortable way about him. You know, and then I remember, I guess at one point in his career, he was a comedian, I think we learned. He seems like a very nice guy. It's amazing that he's gotten to the point where he is now, where he's still standing in light of the damage that's happened to the Ukraine. But I think the big issue for the American people is this. How are we spending $110 billion, an additional $2 billion right now for the Patriot missile system when our own southern border is not being protected? You know, and there's money in our own bill, our omnibus spending bill, the $1.7 trillion, going for borders in Tunisia and Jordan and Egypt and Lebanon. Why are we doing that? And I think most Americans are saying, why are we spending this kind of money? And I think the answer that's being given, and I'm not really sure where I come down on it, Dana, the answer that's being given right now is, look, if we don't stop Putin here in Ukraine, then we're going to be putting more money and possibly boots on the ground if Putin goes into Poland and then NATO kicks in. It's a message to China that it's okay now, you can attack Taiwan. So, I mean, there's a lot more national security interest, apparently, pending on this money than I think most Americans realize.
Harold.
I think the judge said it well. The $110 billion is if we get the $45 billion more that the Congress is debating, just to clarify the judge's point. But the judge, I think, you laid it out very well right at the end. I think we should be protecting the southern border. We need a totally different strategy. I think these are two separate conversations, but I think you define why this is a different conversation. And the president, I think, tried to at the very end when he said that he looks at his NATO allies in the eyes and they want to protect the sovereign lines in Europe, but they don't want to trigger World War III. They also have energy security considerations. There's so many things that will come out of this, but I was impressed, like you were, with the two of them standing there. This was historic, as Dana said. This president of Ukraine had not been out of the country in 300 days or since the war started back in February. I remember when we started talking about this because it happened. It seems so long ago in many ways, and the progress that President Zelenskyy and his troops and soldiers, with the help of many around the globe, including us, have made, should make all of us as Americans have a sense and a rush of pride. Because in so many ways, if they were not able to do this, the Ukrainians, we would likely have to do this. Because what Putin has tried to do is to redraw and reconfigure the lines that had been settled since World War II in Europe. And we would have had to have defended along with our NATO allies. So they have done us a great service. So I thank him as well. He's thanking us, but I thank them for their courage. And I'm only grateful also because Putin clearly underestimated the desire, the hunger, the appetite that the Ukrainians have to determine their own future, the future of their land, the future of their children. And I too like the sense of humor that Zelenskyy, who's at war, is still able to have a chuckle and have a sense of humor about where he is. And I guess lastly, the fact that President Biden has also said to him, we want you to be comfortable, but we want a negotiated settlement to this. I think that came across 2 or 3 times in President Biden's remarks, and I'm glad he's leaving room for that because that's the only way this is going to end.
That was notable. Jesse.
Zelensky's never going to surrender, and he's never going to negotiate. The guy's charming, but he's a killer. And the fact that he spoke English tells me that's not happening because he said the country wants vengeance. And you understand it because you have widows, you have mothers, you have brothers that saw their sons get hacked down by this Putin war machine. And they're not going to say, okay, let's cut a deal, let's do some reparations, you keep the East. They're going to do everything they can to expel the Russians out of that territory, and then they're going to bring up some of these Russian generals on war crimes. That's what they want. Biden said the right thing, I guess, but I want to hear the man speak from the heart or the brain instead of speaking from his notes, because that whole thing was choreographed. These were pre-selected questions. He knew what was coming, and I expect more from the commander-in-chief. The Patriot missile system is an escalation. This is our most high-tech system. It's an air defense system that we have guys trained for 3 years how to operate. You don't just hand this thing over and say, Ukraine, go for it. You're sending advisors over to Ukraine on the ground to operate the system for them. So when the missiles are coming in, this thing better be 100%. Because if we have guys on the ground that are getting shot down by Putin's missiles, that's going to be a real problem. So Putin's going to now target the Patriot missile defense system because that's a huge propaganda win for him if he could get a missile through. But I guess it's better than having these missiles rain down on these civilian centers.
Yeah.
Because he's just been crushing these utility companies, these water systems, and causing mass civilian casualties. Now, it just looks like to me that this winter's not really going to decide anything. In May, you hear it's the muddy season's over. Putin's bringing in 500,000 new guys. Ukraine has captured basically like an entire battalion of tanks and Russian artillery. They're going to get those things repaired, and it's going to be a huge collision in the spring. And we're going to find out who's going to win this thing, hopefully.
I have just a quick comment before we get Greg's, which is I wonder at what point does Biden start to lean on Zelenskyy a little bit more for a negotiated settlement? Because Zelenskyy has said we need all of 2023 in order to beat them back. But then you're getting right into 2024. And then there's perhaps a different political calculation. And I'm sure that the Biden team will not want to be dealing with this in 2024. Over to you, Greg.
Well, I remember we were talking about the pandemic, and then the analogy was we were going to fight it like a war. And then it switched, and we looked at the war as like we were fighting a pandemic. They both have something in common. All data should be seen as suspicious. I remember in the pandemic, the social distancing, the 6 feet away. BS, washing down products that you bought, anything that came in, BS, mats, everything, groceries. So I think it's the same with this is the longest fog of war, and maybe I've lost my innocence on this stuff, and maybe all war is the fog of war, and you can't trust anything you hear or you see. And I think, Jesse's hit it right. It's like nothing is ever going to be enough. And you have to remind yourself, this is our money. And when he said Patriot missiles, and he said, thanks, I want more Patriot missiles, that's how it's going to go. And that is an escalation. I mean, 300 days ago, if I thought it was going to be like this, I would be heartbroken, because it was the thing I didn't want, was this long, like a war that everybody gets used to. It's a war everybody got used to, mainly because it's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, right? It's between Russia and the United States, but it's the Russian troops and the Ukrainians that are fighting. But it's like our limbs aren't getting blown up. We're not being killed. So I think that even saying that, I'm super impressed by Zelenskyy. I think his face is going to be on currency, thanks to our currency. We should be following our currency, because we both know, we know that Ukraine, they're a little corrupt, not as corrupt as Russia, but we need to support Ukraine because they are our dog in this fight, and they were our dog in this fight well before the fighting started. We saw Ukraine as a way to wield power in that region, and we have been pushing this. So we got to be there. We can't just ditch our date at the dance.
The last thing I would say is to take all of that. President Biden didn't do an end-of-year press conference. I guess this is going to have to suffice. He didn't get a question on our main issue. You brought it up, Judge, and that is right now the border. And if he believes that this fight is in our national interest, great. We'll take the argument. We'll think it through. We'll make our decisions about that. But if you never address the border and you don't explain why your decision-making is in our national interest, it leaves everyone to wonder why you are abandoning our troops, our CBP on the border, and helping the Ukrainians. I'm not saying you shouldn't help the Ukrainians. I want them to be helped. But that is a communications failure that only comes from the very top. And you cannot leave that to your underlings to do that, in my humble opinion. Sir.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.